A jab is a basic weapon that boxers use. Some people use it more effectively than others. I want to pick up a few boxers and show you how they jab in different manners. Some people use the jab lightly and some use it intensely so much that they can even knock you out with a jab.
The Knockout Zone.
I want to focus on Deontay Wilder. You know, he has his way of jabbing. You might think that his jab is not so effective, but the way I look at it, it does give the opponent some trouble because, you know, it opens up the opponent's defense. And there's also Iron Mike Tyson. Even though he is not a tall heavyweight, he was just amazing with the way in which he could jab people who are him. Sometimes he would surprise you because naturally you would expect a taller boxer to be the one concentrating on the jab, but you will realize that Mike Tyson uses his jab effectively regardless of his height. Another fighter that has an impressive jab is Tyson Fury. You know, the Gypsy King. He moves around in the ring and he will jab you, and sometimes he would be jabbing and playing around and smiling. You know, his jab is also effective in the sense that it does confuse the opponent trying to attack. There's also another group of fighters who make use of the jab so effectively that it can knock you out. And there I'm talking about Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes could knock opponents just using the jab. That's how Larry Holmes dominated the heavyweight division, you know. He has so much control of the ring. He is also a very mobile fighter, a powerful boxer. Another fighter with a similar style of jabbing would be George Foreman. He has a powerful jab. Of course, he is a big fighter. You know, he's a big heavyweight. So he can knock you out with his jab as well. And there's also another great champion, Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis is a tremendous champion. And he had a wonderful jab of his own. And he could just move around, jab you and confuse you, you know, and knock you out. There's also another heavyweight that's coming up. I've seen him using his jab effectively. And it looks like he is going to be a dangerous fighter in the heavyweight division as well. That's the fighter by the name of Martin Bakole. You can see how he uses his jab. And to me, he seems to resemble George Foreman in a way. His stature, the way he is built. Coming down to the lighter divisions, we had a boxer that I admired so much. A hitman from Detroit, Thomas Hearns. He had a tremendous jab of his own. Thomas Hearns is one of those icons, one of those fighters that will always be remembered in history. You know, fighters who just came up and they had a different style of boxing. So many young fighters, I know at the time, they emulated Thomas Hearns because he came up with this style of jabbing. You know, he could jab you while he's in motion. So he would be like floating around and yet jabbing you with a stiff jab, a heavy jab, you know, that could even knock you out. The last fighter that I picked up is Oscar De La Hoya. You know, Oscar has a tremendous jab. One important thing about him is he's a smart fighter. He has a quick jab. He can confuse you with that jab and all of a sudden he would be throwing so many punches in a combination. So I think he's one of my favorite fighters when it comes to jabbing. You know, he has that style, that unique style of jabbing. So boxing fans, I've given you my list. Now I would like to know, in your opinion, how would you counter the jab? And secondly, who has the best jab out of the list of the boxers that I've given you?